Welcome to episode 31 of the Global Exclusive Podcast. I'm your host, Hazard, and I pulled NV Rain from the free weekly summon. And I'm joined this week by Buhrooose, Dream, Muspel. Shadow is out sick this week. And man, this is really going around. First Buhrooose, then Muspel, now Shadow. And
I wonder who's going around.
Someone not wearing a mask, apparently.
It's definitely Buhrooose. The others can't travel.
That's
boy.
definitely wearing something that's not being worn.
Cotton probably will show up at some point, but the Cotton train has not arrived at the station yet. And this week, our sponsorship is brought to you by Muspel.
This week, our sponsorship was supposed to be brought to us by Shadow, but he's not here. So, good job, Shadow.
Yeah, Shadow, you fucker.
Oh man, he's just not taking one for the team this week. He's not really a team player. I think we should replace Shadow. If you vote yes, say aye.
Aye. Really?
Applications are now open.
Yes. Please send us your application to be.
I don't know that we can replace him. He casts a pretty long shadow.
Wah.
That wasn't good.
I mean, we can't listen. We can't replace Shadow. Who else is going to champion the worst Final Fantasy game ever made on this podcast?
Hey, don't say that. It is not the worst Final Fantasy game ever made. That is Final Fantasy 2.
I mean, it was a different time, Like, I rate them by the time they were released in 2.
Yeah, 12 really has no excuse.
Yeah, like absolutely zero excuse.
2 is like that sophomore slump, right? You get your hit, that first one that comes out, you get the hit, and then that second album you release is kind of trash. So we can kind of give the only person. Let's see, there have been very few bands that have really done a great second album. I think Weezer's one of them, though. Congratulations, Weezer.
And also, it's not a coincidence that both numbered Final Fantasy games with a 2 in them suck.
Okay, you know what, you cowards? We're just going to start talking about the best unit on the banner. And that's right, we're talking about Buhrooose.
What? Wait, okay.
We have
Go ahead.
had this instant tangent curbed.
No. I want to see where this goes.
My job is to keep you guys on topic.
Yeah.
It's a tough job, but somebody has to do it.
It's your one purpose here.
Alright, Buhrooose is a damage dealer. He's irrelevant. Next unit.
He also has breaks that are bad. Well, kind of bad.
But let's be honest. He's the coolest unit, coolest looking unit, coolest character in Season 3. Easily.
He does have a good design.
That's like...
It's not a high bar.
I mean, he looks like stuffed Aiden, so I don't know.
Even Season 2 and Season 1, he's probably a contender. He's up there. I think he's a pretty cool unit.
On the other hand, he's also a TDH gun user with no imbue, so...
hey, there are elemental guns out there.
That's an Aleem special.
I feel like this. He looks like Aiden. He heals just as well as Aiden, so it's literally Aiden.
Yeah,
didn't you just get 7-star Aiden? Buhrooose, didn't you just get 7-star Aiden today?
7-star? No, I got 2 5-star copies of him. Why would I 7-star him? What?
So you could finally experience the greatness of Aiden healing your team.
Yeah, do you know how many units I have that can't heal? Like, literally a majority of my units can't heal, so I don't know.
So Buhroose's kit is weird. He has 70% breaks with chaining moves attached to him, but he can't imbue, and those moves aren't elemental, so he needs an external imbue if he wants to really do good damage with them, except they're not going to do good damage because they suck. He has chaining moves with innate elements that are okay, but they have provokes attached. And that's actually not
pretty odd.
Not a deal breaker, because you can just put him in a slot after your provoke tank and he won't actually get targeted. But it's weird. I don't understand what they were doing.
I thought for a second, I was like, well, maybe they're making him like an evade provoke tank of some sort, but he has absolutely 0% natural evasion. None. Yeah. He does have a couple moves that improve, like have him evade physical attacks for a certain number of turns or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's like a sketchy way to run.
Yeah, he can get 2 stacks of Mirage on demand per turn. There's a chaining move he has that adds 2 stacks, but that's non-elemental, and like I said, no imbue, and he's a TDH unit. So you would need an external imbue and only 2 stacks is probably not enough for your damage dealer. He's going to get killed because he's getting hit a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And also, so you might be looking at a skit, you might be thinking, wait, hold on. So this is a non-elemental breaker chainer that can't imbue himself. Wow, what a perfect pair for the Envy unit on banner that can actually imbue other units. Although they have the different chaining families.
I will say he also has Entrust, and he doesn't use his LB, so he can actually like spare his gauge. But he's so far behind on damage because he's 7-star instead of Envy, and everybody just got Envy Tifa for free. There's no reason to use this guy.
Can we just say he's worse than Barrett and move the fuck on?
Well, wait.
I think he's better than Barrett because he at least has like utility.
There's one reason to be happy about pulling him, and that's his STMR, because that's a 15% evade hat, which is the highest in the game, and there's only 10% from a limited rainbow. So that's quite nice to work towards.
Oh, another thing that's fun about his breaks is he cannot double or triple cast his breaks with anything else. I
think that's a bug with the wiki filter, actually.
It's a bug with the filter?
Yeah, they're listed on the tooltips.
Okay, well, that's good, because I was like, they are really just trying to put the nail in the coffin.
But the guys, it's super clear that now these units are the 4 stars of the banner, because look at Bruce's TMR. So first of all, Bruce's TMR is great. It's a 70% attack with gun materia. But that is the type of strength and materia we got from 4-star TMRs. You remember Gravy, you remember, what's her face? Diesel.
Those are the really good 4-star TMRs that were better than a lot of Rainbow TMRs.
But I disagree that the Rainbows are now the 4 stars of the banner, because we can prove that by talking about the other Rainbow on the banner.
No, I meant for this particular case. But sure, please do segue into the next Rainbow.
So the other Rainbow is Rinora, who is a buffer.
He is absolutely incredible on any physical damage heavy fights, which are quite rare, but still.
And I know everyone is confused. It's a dude, okay? It's a dude.
He's got on-demand 2-stack AoE Mirage, which is already pretty rare. I think there's only 3 or 4 units in the game that have it. And he has a cooldown that gives 70% magic mitigation for 2 turns. Physical. And then he has on-demand 30% mitigation, and he can do 250% buffs with his LB.
Right, so physical mitigation. Just saying that.
Yeah, he also has 30% general mit, but
The double Mirage is dual castable is the big difference compared to other people that can provide it. So he can do his stat buffs open with 230 stats, 40% general mit, and double Mirage, combine it with the physical mit, all sorts of things. So,
he's also got racial mitigation against humans and machines, although it's only 15% and it's not going to do a whole lot for you.
Oh, but it still stacks with all other mitigations.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes into play, it's nice, but that's going to be every once in a while, and even then, it's not that big. So
yeah. So my biggest problem with Rinora is just the niche of it, because looking at other units, you can usually bring them on many trials, but unless it's a physical trial, you're not bringing Rinora, because he brings nothing really.
He strikes me as the physical counterpart to Lunafreya, because Lunafreya is really good at dealing with those magic heavy fights, and Rinora is really good at dealing with the physical heavy fights.
But at least Lunafreya has more tools, and that's what bothers me with Rinora. Rinora's kit is so bare bones.
It's a bit
Lunafreya has more tools, but she's also not as strong defensively against magic damage as Rinora is against physical. So Rinora gives up versatility in exchange for strength within his niche, and I think it's generally really good for a buffer to be highly specialized like that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're aware of that this is a very specialized buffer, you're not going to bring them to every fight and get a lot of mileage.
Sorry, Dream, you were trying to say something.
I'll just say that the sort of two things I was going to say is, one first thing on the positive side is that his 70% physical mitigation cooldown works incredibly well if we get Daisy and you combine them with her, because then you have full uptime on 70% physical mit for the entire team, and that's pretty nuts. And then on the negative side there's the fun thing of where one of his passives is just what seems to be a really big story spoiler.
Oh, is anyone reading passives? And also, is anyone caring about the story?
Some people care.
Oh, shoot.
I don't know. I'm reading his
Okay.
passives now.
Well,
No.
you'll know it when you get to it.
No. I mean, obviously, I'm not doing anything of the story in Season 3, so I probably don't know, but,
You didn't start skipping the story right away, though, so you'll probably know this.
no.
Anyway,
like,
I'm sure
no
a lot of
idea.
people can work it out if they want to see that, or if they don't, be warned.
Another thing I want to note
Seriously.
is he has a little bit of innate evasion, but I want to say I don't think he's great as like a dodge provoke tank because he can't equip a lot of the gear that you would want. Like he can't equip light shields, he can't natively equip daggers, so you would need to start
Yeah,
giving
his
him a bunch of
equipment
equipment
selection's
material
kinda
stuff
rough.
to get him all that dodge goodness. It's doable, but not great.
Yeah, I will say he does have enough machine mitigation that he's ready for Skynet and anything it brings.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean,
we should-
it is...
Shall we-
This is one of those mechanics I think that we'll see more and more. Like, you know, they'll get 20%, then 25, then 30, then 40. It's
I think
basically
the first one who will like actually bring it to a level that's impactful is the Envy Awakening for Sacred Shield Charlotte. She has quite high percents for Demon and Reaper.
Yeah, I think it's like
think-
86%.
Yeah, self-mit, I think
Yeah.
30 for party.
Yeah.
So that's
Nice.
enough to like actually be impactful. But yeah, a lot of these 10s and 15% are quite token.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to... We didn't actually mention the LB that much, because once you get the LB rolling, it's going to be, as you said, Dream, it's going to be the 15%, but you're also going to get the 250% defensive buffs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mentioned the 250%
Very
buffs
solid.
earlier, but
Very solid.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I missed.
Yeah, if you're pulling for rain on this banner and you get Rinora, he's a nice support unit that can come in handy in certain fights. But as you guys have said, he's not your everyday kind of thing. I kind of think of him as like a Rivera type unit where Rivera can really shine in certain battles, but it's not someone you're really going to be bringing
I would argue,
for the most part.
I would argue Rinora is the real prize of the banner. Mostly because we just got NV Tifa for free, and there's not really much point to pulling for Rain. Like, it's not that Rain is bad, but Tifa is generally going to be better, so there's very little reason to have Rain. But Rinora is very unique in what he does, and is really good within that niche.
And just to add to something that Dream said before, you can also combine Rinora but with anyone that can guarantee a summon of Golem relatively often, and you can still get those 70% mitigations up 100% without having to have Golem every turn.
Yeah.
Well, it still needs to be 2 turns in a row, so
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, but you
That's
can
great.
blow cooldowns for that, for instance.
yeah, I guess so. Though those aren't that common.
Like, for instance, if you just have Golem every third turn and you have, like, someone... Okay, I'm saying Morgana. I know nobody brings Morgana anywhere. But you have Morgana. Then you burn that cooldown and get the 4th, and then you just rinse and repeat.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that
could
gets
work.
pretty intensive in terms of action economy. It's certainly an option. I don't know that I would want to take that option.
Could be fun if someone wants to try it on the Behemoth K trial.
Yeah, I guess. So do we want to move on to Dark Veritas?
I mean, we're on the banner, should we? And we mentioned Rain, so we could go with Banner Star Rain. Well, or arguably, according to Muspel.
Sure. I think isn't Veritas the Dark also technically on the banner? I'm not sure.
I don't know. So.
Yeah.
Is he?
They do rates up for the NVAs as well. I
Yeah.
forget.
Really? Okay. But so wait, hold on. Before we go to Rain, then, a question about the banner. So the 2 rainbows you get guaranteed for the 10+1 pull on his banner, are those rate up for on-banner units or no?
I'm pretty sure from like a screenshot I saw, it gives you get 2 NVEX tickets, like Rainbow / NVEX tickets. So no, they're not on banner, but also you can save them, I guess.
Sorry, what?
Wait,
you get
no,
two
no, no, no,
EX,
no.
I guess when you do
maybe
a
not.
5K
No. You get
not
2 rainbows, like 2 rainbows guaranteed for every 10+1. That's how his banner
I'm not
works.
even sure.
Wait, I've not heard of this before.
Yeah, it says 2.
Yeah, there's two rainbows per 5+1 or per
10+1,
10+1
yeah.
on the banner, but I don't know exactly how they're delivered.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was just wondering
Not that
because
I'm
I did
pulling
a
on
couple
this.
of 10+1s here because I really want Rain because reasons, and I got only 1 on banner unit, which was luckily Rinora, but still. So I was just wondering if it's a bait or not.
I hope that becomes a regular thing because for new players, that's actually a really good way to build up your roster.
Yeah.
I know we have the higher rainbow rates now, so it's not that bad, even without that, but still.
But if you want a specific unit, now are those 2 rainbows supposed to be on banner, or is it just completely random?
Yeah, that was kind of what I was wondering. I think it's completely random.
I would assume it's completely random, or at least not with a significant banner rate up. But
yeah,
even so, with the
I'm
refined
scrolling
pool,
through the gacha channel, and it looks random. Yeah, it looks like the first 2 pulls are always rainbow.
Muscle, why don't you spend
And
like
they look
50k
random.
on the banner, and we'll test your results and see if it's...
Actually, you know what? I know our listeners hate this, but I need y'all to take a break, okay? Because I really, really need rain. So I have 500 lapis to my... Actually, I have 625 lapis to my
so
name.
Dark Veritas. Let's talk about him
No.
now.
Listen, I need to do
think
this,
it's
okay?
fucking worked for Hazard, so...
It worked for Hazard. It has worked for me before. I got 2B of a 500 pull. Listen, I need you all to pool your energy to me. And listeners, so I know this is weird because you're listening to this way after I've done the pull, but I believe in quantum physics, and I believe that you can also send me your energy, okay? If you listen to the after talk, I'm going to tell you why. Now, come on, like pool your energy to me, because I'm pressing the 500 pull now. Just like, let me have this. Let me have this, world.
Paris is fucking
All right,
I really
Paros,
need this.
spirit
remember
ball.
to say the name of the person you want to pull.
Oh, I want to pull rain, please. Okay, I'm pulling.
Remember, it's Rain tilde Neovision tilde or dash.
Oh shit, it's a blue.
I don't know.
God damn it, listeners, you suck.
Wow, who could have anticipated that?
Who could have anticipated that the wishes of the viewers would not be able to travel back in time to when we're recording
yeah.
this?
I am
We'll
100%
get
sure.
rain in like 3 days when this goes live.
No. I'm 100% sure all the viewers were like, I hope he fucking gets that worthless 3-star unit that has that TMR, which is jump, damage, and attack. I don't know what she's called.
Falma?
Falma? Yeah, that's probably her. Yeah, that's the one I got at least. So thanks, everyone. I have like 50 of her.
Oh, man. I'm sorry,
So-
Baros. It's always
it's okay.
depressing.
It's okay, but talking about the
watch
unit
you pull.
I didn't get and pulled hard for,
Rain.
Now that we've
Yeah.
traumatized all of our listeners and all of the other podcast hosts by having to listen to a 500 lapis poll, let's talk about Rain. Rain
What
is...
number Rain is this?
Muspel's finally given up on his Dark Veritas train.
depends. Do we count Akstar or no?
Well, yes. All versions of Rain.
Sure.
So let's see.
What number is this?
There's Rain, there's Demon Rain, there's X-Star. I don't know if we count Xeno with a Beta Star. I don't think
X-Star, Xeno, Hyo.
we do. Xeno is not Rain. I think that's like the original Xeno.
No. That's 100% rain.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be the, like, our timeline version of Xeno.
Yeah, I'm
If
pretty
he
sure it
wasn't
is.
true dual wield, I might agree with you. But
Mechanical limbs.
I was successful.
So
in
yeah, okay.
derailing the
Let's
Muspel.
just
God damn it.
summarize by saying we have a
So
shit ton
wait.
of rains in the game, but we have
So
more
there
Phoenix.
is 7 Rains, 2 X-Stars, Xeno, Hyo. That's 11. So I think this is the
Cowboy
12th Rain?
Cowboy Rain, or not Cowboy Rain. The
Vagrant
Fan
Knight?
Festa one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I got them all because I just put Rain in the unit list search.
Yeah, which one did we get? Which one Rain did we get? That
I
was a
don't think
special.
Rain had one of those global ones. I think it was just like Chocobo Rain from JP.
Vagrant Knight
Interesting.
Rain.
Yeah, that's the one I said, but I think
Yeah, he's on the
Dream
list.
got him.
Because it was Rain, Demon Rain, Vagrant Knight Rain, Awaken Rain, Chocobo Rain, Eldor King Rain, Ifrit Rain, Axstar Xeno, Asura Axstar, and Hyo is the ones I've got so far. And
Dream making it rain.
Neo Vision Rain.
So,
All right.
Yeah, well,
that
while
was
we're
more
on the
interesting
topic
than the
of
discussion we're
this
about to
unit.
have.
yeah. So
Okay.
Rain is... Somebody asked me earlier today if Rain was a top damage dealer, and I said that Rain was not a top damage dealer. He's designed to enable his partner to deal more damage. So rather than a top, he is a power bottom.
Yes,
God damn it.
and
what
I
I'd expect
definitely
from
see
Paris.
Rain being a power bottom, like 100%. Like, I mean, you have to admit, like, look at the story.
The thing is, right now at least, he is also a top damage dealer, which I guess makes him a switch.
Okay, let's stop with these analogies now. I think
And
we've had
Hazard,
enough.
we'll explain that to you when you're older.
I just started typing into Google and then thought better of it.
Don't, Hazard. Don't, no. Keep your beautiful mind unspoiled and just,
Holy
Actually,
shit.
there's nothing wrong with being a power
Buhrooose
bottom.
is telling you not to do something.
Anyways.
That's true. There's an NBA player whose last name you should also never Google, by the way. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that before.
Is his name Goatsy?
No, I'll tell you guys later.
Jesus.
All right, so let's talk about Rain. Rain enables other people to be great by adding fire element to their physical attacks for 5 turns.
Can fire imbue allies, attack buff them, it boosts their fire damage by 15%.
Boost their LB
give them
damage.
Beast killer buffs.
I guess the
100% limit damage.
The LB damage buff is probably not super relevant because he's not going to chain with an ally's LB. I guess you can finish with it, but
yeah, it's a Dark Visions thing, really.
Yeah,
and I think that's where he will probably be able to shine on some stages at least for quite some time, because he has that offensive ally support and in fact for the whole team, and then can also contribute pretty good damage himself with just Stardust Ray Chains.
Yeah, he does have a Helios Saber, which is 230% attack to all allies, 80% fire resistance, and 40% mitigation. So that's pretty nice. It's not on a cooldown, and you can triple cast it. So, and then he's got some self-sustain with Astral Edge. That's pretty nice.
I do want to say I think that Zon has probably eaten a lot of Rain's lunch in GL, just because being able to imbue your allies in Dark Visions is not super useful when you're probably bringing Zon to every single fight anyways, if you have him.
Yeah, and everyone can now UOC him. So yeah, Zon does take a lot of the wind out of his sails.
Yeah, exactly.
Of his support,
the time you'd want to
for
bring
that limit damage buff.
I mean, Rain is going to help you really get those high scores on the Beast DV stages that are weak to fire, because then you're just not going to bring Zon. You don't need him. But that's very niche.
Yeah. And
however,
he also,
okay. Let's back up a
Maybe
bit.
Dream mentioned this already. He also has a cooldown that's a perfect dispel. It removes buffs while leaving debuffs intact. That part is probably not going to be useful in DV because it's not available until turn 4. And usually in DV you want to kill on turn 2 or 3.
Yeah, that one would be more of a trial one, especially if you're using a pair, because then you can alternate it and have it every second turn after 4.
Alright, looking at it from a trial angle, I mean, this is still a unit that deals slightly more damage than Cloud as a pure chainer, meaning that he's the second strongest chainer in the game, I guess, or something.
Well, strongest chainer.
Or strongest
right
chainer,
now.
actually, yeah, exactly, sorry. And he still has a decent support kit, so I mean, if you don't have an NV, you're obviously going to be over the moon getting him. But, or there are no real buts, because this is a gacha game, power creep is real, but he is one of the early NVs, which means he will be power crept maybe faster than others.
Yeah,
when I got him, I felt slightly amused.
And just the biggest problem that with him and with Cloud is that, I think we said this last week too, we just got Tifa for free. And when Tifa can one-shot every single boss in the game right now, there just doesn't seem to be much reason to use anyone else. It's not that Rain is bad, it's just that they gave us a gun, now they're trying to sell us a knife.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd still go for Rain just because of Hyo nostalgia and shit, but yeah, it makes sense. Nobody needs Rain at all. Anyone who was here for the Envy event can just skip this banner, even including Rinora, because he's definitely not a must-have.
Yeah, he's going to be a unit that shows up in some whale clears for Dark Visions, but that's true of almost every unit. Whales were using Garland on Leviathan this last Dark Visions, and Garland was a terrible
one of them.
unit.
But he does Dark Chain.
Yeah, I mean, for the once in a blue moon situation where it comes up, he's useful. For the rest of the time, he's god awful.
He would be really good for those preemptive type battles, because he's got almost 100% of all element resist just innately. It's pretty nice, but yeah, he's basically trash otherwise. He's there to prevent you from getting Kuja, as I know personally. And so does Senzar.
Yeah. I mean, one area that Rain is top tier and should stay in there for a while is scale of destruction in his CG limit burst. Because he's just like, yeah, we'll casually cut up a galaxy like a pizza.
Yeah.
Okay, the size of that sword is so comically, stupidly large. I saw it today. I just couldn't laugh.
By the way,
at it. Takes up the whole screen.
But isn't it interesting because his LB animation, so not the CG one, but in game, seems to be an overlaid movie. It doesn't seem, or is it just me? Because it doesn't look like an actual pixel animation. It doesn't seem to be affected by the frame rate in the same way. It just seems to be a movie playing over your
Kind
party.
of like the High Surf Ultima one?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. So it's
I don't think I've seen it. So
it's high quality. You can see it in the Rain quest. I would say I was using my own Rain, but yeah, you all know how that goes. Thank you, listeners, for nothing.
I also want to mention...
I'd send you mine if I could.
I just want to mention his vision card to me seems like it's noticeably worse than Cloud's. Like, it's not that it's bad.
I did not expect this.
It has like 100 attack and then 60% HP and defense. The problem is that Cloud's card gives 100% attack, so the defense is generally not as valuable as HP, and HP is probably better than attack, but not that much better. So I would rather use Cloud's card and then slot in like an HP materia or something, rather than use Rain's card and then try to slot in some attack with materia. I feel like you're coming out behind in that trade.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
if you're comparing them, but I mean, it's still one of those that are gonna get you to 4K attack if you don't have one, which I don't.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got the same base attack. And yeah, I would be very happy to have any base attack increasing.
yes, even 10.
Must
Like
be
I can
nice to
take 10
pull
attack.
Neovision.
It's okay. 5 is okay too.
One attack.
Sure. Just give me anything.
I think the minimum you get is like 35 from like a level 1 airship card, but still.
Alright, and then we got one last unit that's kind of on the banner, I guess, which is Dark Veritas, who now has who's not a new unit, but he's got a Neovision Awakening now.
Can I say the Quintaslash is definitely my favorite ability that he's got because I think
Why?
Dark Veritas's biggest memory for me is facing that idiot in arena, and he does that freaking dual slash every time, and it takes forever. Now, obviously, Xeno came later and put him to shame as far as how long his freaking animation takes, but dual slash was legit pretty good in arena. And anytime you saw Dark Veritas, there was like a 90% chance they were going to dual slash on that first turn.
That's actually probably like crazy good in arena if you make him dual wield.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess then you have to worry about dodge units, but still.
You could also triple cast it with 2 dual slashes, and that's only 1 less AoE, 9 versus 10.
Yeah, true.
And you get the accuracy.
We're going to have to edit this out.
Yeah, that's basically
because I don't want to give anyone that idea.
Well, no, they won't use it on defense. Because enemies never use multicast.
Oh, that's true. Okay, go ahead. Hey, anyone who's listening to this,
So
if you have an awakened Rain in your party, screw you. Screw you. Also, C card, screw you.
Well, Seaguard,
Lucas,
if you haven't
Lilith?
removed his fucking cover by enhancing him.
You know how bad it is?
Oh, they haven't.
I think that Hazard deep down hates Mercenary Ramza because of Arena. And I'm sure that tears him up inside.
Well, it's funny because I never see him in arena anymore, so or anywhere else for that matter.
Yeah, I don't know. I just can't care enough about Arena. I'm still running just a kill all comp, but it's squishy, so whoever faces me is gonna kill me ASAP. But yeah.
So I've now gotten to this last week I missed 0 orbs because now I can get now it's like, you go to sleep and you get 8 hours of sleep, you're gonna miss 3 or 4 orbs in that time period. But now with 10, you won't miss any orbs as long as you use them before you go to bed.
You can be
And
extra sweaty.
yeah, unfortunately, that's my life. So
I'm really doing a bad job at keeping
Okay,
us off
but
of tangents.
getting back to the actual Envy Awakening unit, there is one
Yeah.
positive aspect of Dark Veritas, and that's the fact that he still does Envy damage-ish. He does more damage than Tifa as a chainer.
It's solid enough.
And the good part about that is not his damage itself, but it's that he can break while chaining. So you can
Kind
forego.
of.
I mean, not kind of. He can break.
Well, the
Well,
problem is
it's
that
that
he can only...
if you want to sustain his breaks, you can't use his brave shift because of the duration on it.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's a trade-off, sure.
Now, that being said, if you're using two of them, they're always using Stardust Ray. You could leave one in the base form and the other one in Brave Shift and kind of like alternate them and keep up breaks that way.
Yeah.
But it's a mess and it's a pain in the ass, and
Yeah, that sounds unpleasant.
Yeah, I would definitely say the use for Dark Veritas is kind of, if you have a fight where you can bring him as your breaker, then you slot in Tifa as a finisher and another chainer, and that'll work.
Not a terrible idea. He does, because his breaks are, for those who haven't heard yet, attack, defense, and magic 75%, 3 turns to all enemies. So, and he can triple cast that while doing damage.
Yeah, it's nice that it's AoE as well.
Yeah.
the main
So
problem...
it's definitely, as we know, Dark Veritas has always been a support unit and not a DPS, dating back to the Malboro trial.
Yeah.
So his just continues. He is a breaker that happens to have some damage
Support
on
chaining,
him. Okay, I'm just kidding. He's also got 20% mitigation, just like his. Oh no, that's from his original form.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what he...
It's like, yes, he has his things from his regular form because this is his
I know.
regular form.
I do forget though, because the envy stuff is on the top. I'm like, oh, look at all this other nonsense.
Yeah.
I want to say, though, if you're using him for damage, most of his damage comes from his Brave Shift. So if he stops using that, his damage drops by a lot. And if he's using his Brave Shift for damage, he's Dark Locked. All of his stuff is innately
Yeah.
dark. Well, all the good
Well,
stuff.
except for the one skill that's shared across both forms.
That
but
one is pretty
That's not
weak,
really your
yeah.
main damage skill. The main one is Blade of Carnage.
And put it this way,
You know,
whoever...
His
follow-
damage.
Sorry, this seems to follow a trend with NV units where they only have one element, but like Rain only has fire, Tifa only has water, Cloud only has lightning, Veritas the Dark only has dark, but he's more locked into it than the others because they just have like one imbue. He actually has the elements built into his chaining moves in the Brave Shift form, so he can't, even if he's imbued with something else, he's still doing dark damage too.
Yeah, which is a big shame.
Yeah.
Which is a big shame. But look at it this way as well. So, sorry, Green, you wanted to say something.
It does make him a bit easier to gear, but the main thing I was going to say is that, like, doing a full damage rotation, like, it's solid enough, or at least it will be once they fix his triple
yeah.
cast bug, because currently, like, he can't multicast anything in his Brave Shift form.
Oh, nice.
But I think JP had that bug as well on launch, so...
Just the time old tradition of Global
Carrying
not
over
fixing
bugs.
JP bugs.
Yeah.
Never.
Hazard, they didn't want to give us global exclusive content. They wanted to make sure we got what JP got.
But look at
what
it,
everyone asks for.
and look at it this way. Everyone got Tifa, a fantastic LB finisher that currently deals the most damage in the game if you can support her by chaining every time she has a Brave Shift up. And now everyone that had Dark Veritas, which should be a lot of the veterans because this is such an old unit, also got a really, he is a stronger chainer than Tifa. So on the trials you can't bring Tifa, you can bring Dark Veritas and still do more damage. So yeah, there's something to be said about him.
Yeah.
Yay.
He exists.
He exists. I mean,
Speaking
sure.
of existing, we also have another unit that's not really on the banner,
Sorry,
but we did get for free in
Sorry, I want to
Tyro.
mention one other thing first. Next week is going to be
Oh, but the
interesting
segue
to
was
see-
so good.
But this is actually about Veritas of the Dark. Next week it'll be interesting to see if with the next banner, Dark Veritas is still in the refined pool. Because currently he's not. Like, he was removed when they took out all those old rainbows. So he's in the pool for this banner, but I wonder if he's going to stay in there now that he has a Neovision Awakening.
Well, they did say that. They said that all NVA units will get added to the refined pool
Oh,
as
okay.
they get awakened.
Oh, okay.
I must have missed that. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, no. That was even written in a news post.
Alright,
I
so
think.
let's talk about the second good unit that came out this week, other than Rinora.
I'd say good is kind of generous, but
I mean, he's like, what, the fifth best
he's
tank
not
in
a
the game?
damage dealer.
Which is
I mean,
largely due to lack of competition, but
But are you saying like good as in like neutral good, or good as in useful?
he's useful. I mean, he's
Chaotic good.
he's not going to be useful to veterans probably, but he's a fairly solid tank.
So who are you talking about, Muspel?
Tyro.
So Tyro's a unit that kind of reminds me a little bit of AI Katie in the sense that, okay, first of all, Tyro's actual symbol, they give you the symbols for roles, is that little star thing, which is supposedly, many, many roles. Yeah. So he can be technically a physical chainer, a magical chainer, a physical tank, a magic tank, and a support unit. Yeah, healer. Provoke tank / healer. Yeah. So he can do a lot of different things. Now, how well can he do each of these things kind of varies. He cannot break, so he's not as good as AI Katie, apparently.
He can break, he just can't break on turn 1. So
basically he can't break.
Much.
Yeah, and his breaks are kind of sad. They're 65% single target for 2 turns, which decay to 60%.
So mostly what he's good at is tanking, because he has both covers, he has provoke, and he has a cooldown that it gives 40% general mitigation, 25% physical and magical mitigation to the party, and it buffs defense and spirit by 150% for everyone. And that's on a cooldown,
and it's full uptime.
But the cooldown is the same as the duration, and he can triple cast it. So on turn 1, he can provoke and cover and use that cooldown. Although you probably don't want him to provoke and cover because he'll die.
Why is that, Muspel?
He is squish.
He doesn't have great stats. His health and his survivability stats are a little on the low side. He can probably live through most trials, but you're not going to want to bring him to something like something like Behemoth. He will get murdered.
I mean, he's got enough passives to last a lifetime. Not that any of them stack, but...
Yeah, it's the whole thing of a billion conditionals.
So, yeah. I mean, technically, of course, just like Muspel said, this is a great unit for new players. I mean, I know we say that for every free unit, but it is.
It's like, yeah, if you just started and have not...
Although that is really... Like, that statement is really starting to decline in value, because imagine as a new player just pulling any NV unit. It will literally make every trial irrelevant up until you actually need a tank that's not Tyro. So, I don't know how much of that statement is true, actually.
Well, also, if you're starting FFBE right now and you're listening to this, please save yourself and go away and put the game down.
Just don't start playing it. Because, like, you'll get sucked in and
then you'll be doing 500 pulls.
And they're already interested enough to listen to a podcast about it. It's too late.
They're doomed.
You are on the
Buhrooose path already.
Yeah, you're going to be doing 500 pulls, and while you're snorting cocaine, I don't know.
Do you want to?
Or is it just like, how do I wrap this up?
Tyro actually has like okay healing. Like, you're not going to want to use him as your healer, but he has a mod boost for Kiraga, which brings it up to like 9x or something. So if he dual casts that, it's pretty close to a single cast Kiraga, so he can like give your healer a turn off from using heals if he needs to.
Oh, hold on, Muspel. So are you saying this unit is a tank that can tank magic damage and heal?
Yes, he's like Chow, but not a dog.
So a better Chow.
He kind of looks like...
I don't know about that.
He kind of looks like the court jesters from Final Fantasy 9 a little bit. Zorn and
No.
Thorn.
Hold on. Cotton isn't here, so let's do this. Is Tyro better than Chow?
Currently?
Yes.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Did you hear that, Cotton?
But Chow has the doggo factor.
What? The who
Chow
effect?
has the doggo factor.
Ah, yeah. Sure. Yeah,
let's
cute
be honest.
Sprite and all.
It's... like, if they're going to pick a cute dog, Chow is not the one. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, Tyro kind of looks like someone molested by priests.
Okay,
Can we just... Let's just stop here.
I can't. I just can't.
In fact, let's just stop 5 minutes ago.
On the other hand, Chow also looks like someone molested by priests.
No.
So there's one other thing we can talk about this week, which is that we got a new kind of event that we haven't seen in GL before. It's called a story event.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, it was super cool.
Yeah, seems like a pretty interesting format.
Yeah, we have like all these separate stages, and when you clear them, you get stuff that you can use for ability awakenings, and then there's also like cutscenes, which
and a lot of lapis, right?
A fair amount, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's surprising.
That's really the thing you're looking for if you're
Yeah,
doing this.
Japan has
the
JP
lapis.
has been getting these for I don't even know how long now, but
It's
GL,
refreshing,
I mean,
isn't it? Like it's a bit new. It's a bit exciting.
yeah.
I did like the first 10 minutes of this one, and I'm already remembering why I don't like story events. I'm like, do I really have to read all this? Can I just?
You skip it.
Why?
Can you give me the
Exactly.
synopsis?
As I said, the worst part about story events is this cutscenes where you have to press skip twice in order to get it to go away.
Yeah, you notice sometimes it'll pop up and you'll click skip and it won't register the skip. You just have to keep spamming it until it works. Yeah, it's a tough life.
Yeah, tough life. Sucks to be
It's
us.
just
Fun.
giving my lapis fools. Yeah, so that's basically the story event. But Buhrooose is a cool character, and the story event, at least based on the 10 minutes I've spent, seems to be about him. So we'll see how that
Yeah,
goes.
the only character, the troll. It's about the troll rainbow. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I do really feel bad about that.
Like, the picture does suggest it's about both Bruce and Rinora, so we'll see.
I skipped all of the cutscenes, but
Yes.
there were like 6 stages that require you to bring Bruce and 1 that require you to bring Rinora or something
Yeah.
like that. So I think it's mostly about Bruce.
Yeah, or it might be like whose perspective it is or something. I don't know. I'm still finishing off Mod King.
Oh, Dream! Wow, now I am unzipping.
Oh my god.
Okay, so a call
can't today.
to the podcast community. Do we have any artists? Because if we do, it'd be super cool to get a picture of Dream finishing off the Mog King.
No.
That would be great.
Why?
I mean, it would be great.
There we
Yeah.
go.
All right. Buhrooose has been muted. Mission accomplished. Speaking of applications, join the podcast. We are going to replace Buhrooose. It's been 31 episodes, and I think we've reached the limit here. So if you want to send applications, send them directly to the doggo, Cotton.
Yeah, it's
Send her
cottonc
PMs.
at gmail.com.
It better not be.
I hope
right,
to God
so-
it is.
Since we're at 45 minutes and we forgot to pick out a secondary topic, I'm going to pick one at random, and we are going to do from our list of predetermined topics.
Let's do trial mechanics. Trial mechanics.
Oh god.
I think we want to wait for a full roster for that. We're going to talk about budget clears and how
Yeah.
to do that.
God damn it.
Budget guides. Tyro. Use Tyro as your tank and healer and breaker.
Yeah,
And then
you don't have to bring any other units. You just bring. Actually, you know what? Hey, can someone do a clear with just Tyro on a relevant trial? Like no other units.
Now that would be interesting. What about 6 Tyros? Okay. I
Oh,
guess it's
is
not
he the
possible.
new Medius maybe?
Oh, we need to have Flip Method
if
on
there's
here, by
any
the way.
injectors that are up
So
to the
for budget
challenge.
clears, I think there's a few ways to look at this. The first way is you bring a friend unit that's geared to blow the boss to Kingdom Come, and you do that. And for a lot of trials, that's going to be the easiest way to do it. In this case, it's probably going to be a friend Tifa. But if that's not an option for whatever reason, or if you want to actually just see the boss mechanics, something like AoE re-raise provides a really good safety net. It makes things messier. You're going to have to worry a lot about units dying and then having to rebuff or having to be able to spam AoE re-raise. But if you have someone like Dr. Iden, that's actually fairly achievable. So that's certainly an option.
All right, my favorite
Yeah.
option is actually, so whatever trial you're going to take on, go to the wiki and look at the team clears at the time that the trial came out and try it with those same units and see how you do.
That's an excellent tip,
That's
Hazard.
like
It's
the
like
I'm just
opposite
saying.
of how to do one.
It's really fun because I've gone back to a few of them and been like, oh, how did I beat this? And then I see the clears. I'm like, oh shoot, how do I do it with like actual like real units from today? And wish someone had posted on the wiki. But it's actually kind of fun if you want to go back and see what people cleared with. Like, you guys remember the Scorn of Antonola? I cleared it with a 6-star Fryevia. That's my DPS. Right when the 7-star era came about, we basically didn't have a whole lot of options on that. So that was kind of fun. Or go back and beat the Skeleton King with Ilias and using the elixir bug. That was a lot of fun too.
wait, Antonola. I thought everyone used like Terra for that.
I don't remember. You had to use, what was it, Antonola? It's the plant thing with all the different
Yeah.
vines and stems and whatever.
It's like AoE fire was good, and for physical you had to like wait till turn
Yeah, every
4.
4 turns it swapped.
I'm pretty
also
sure like
immunities.
people used just 2 Terras and destroyed it in like 2 turns or something.
There's also some stuff that's a lot more common these days that'll make some old trials very easy. Like, if you have easy access to AoE Mirage, then that'll take some trials where a big part of the problem was just fitting in AoE Mirage, and it just turns them into something that's a lot more manageable. Like, Venomous Vines is I think, like, drastically easier if you have Vaughn or something.
Yeah, and most also keep in mind most older trials don't actually have Mirage protection in the sense that the boss would do like multiple AoEs, etc., etc. So
That being said, there is an era where that won't help, because for a long time, Gumi and Alum just released a lot of bosses that use fixed attacks.
Fixed attacks,
Yeah,
baby.
that's true.
So, for those fights, keep in mind that typed mitigation is going to do very little for you, because it won't affect those fixed attacks. It'll only help with whatever's hitting your tank, probably. Mirage will do very little, but one thing that is more common now that wasn't very common back then is barriers, and those can be a big help.
yeah, but my best tip for doing budget clears, especially if you're struggling to fill a decent roster, is to not really care about damage. Like you don't have to bring 2 top tier chainers. In fact, if you only have 1 chainer, that's good. If you only have a friend chainer, that's actually good as long as you have something else that can chain with it and be super defensive and gear everything, like gear everyone for bulk, have AoE re-raise and Mirage like Muspel said, and you should be good to go for almost anything really. You're not going to get into turn missions, but that's fine.
You might, actually, because damage has gone up so much over the last... I mean, any time period you look at, there's been huge damage spikes.
Over the last 2 weeks.
I mean, the last 2
Yeah.
weeks especially, but like over any 2-month period, you look at the beginning and you look at the end, there's been a big damage spike. And like even if you're having your tank or your breaker or something chain with a friend every 2 or 3 turns, you can probably actually beat the damage checks on a lot of trials that way, even if none of your units are contributing any meaningful damage.
And I mean, you know what? Maybe even when you're not chaining, because if you're not chaining, you do 1/8 of the damage you would have done. But as long as that chainer does 8 times more damage than whatever the chainers did at the time, you're still fine.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah,
be
like
1/12 if it's a TDW unit, but yeah.
I mean, like a friend Tifa using an LB is still going to blow up basically anything by itself without any.
You don't even have to chain.
chains.
You just, but I mean, of course, that is cheating. Like if you actually want to, and I do recommend this. Like there are trials that are fun to just explore beyond blowing them up before they have a turn.
I want to say something that I notice a lot with newer players is that they go through all of the early trials and they blow them up, and I get why they do that. But then they get to the later ones and they haven't really learned how to handle fight mechanics or how to team build. And it can be very useful to go through those earlier trials and actually deal with the mechanics, because it gives you a good learning curve.
Yeah, a couple of them that are good for that are like Moon. The Moon fight is really good at making you handle mechanics.
I'm gonna say original. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Shinryu, the original, or sorry, the Octopus and the Teacher. That one's really good
Octopus
for different
Teacher
mechanics.
is great. Lich is probably not bad.
That's
I'm
true.
gonna say original Marlboro. So GL EX Marlboro.
I don't.
Also.
I'm not sure that I agree with that anymore.
Really?
It once was, but nowadays, like, just having magic cover turns off, like, 90% of the mechanics in that fight.
But we had magic cover when it came around, didn't we?
No, we didn't.
We did not.
We got Mistina like shortly after, didn't we?
No, it was a couple months later.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that's why everyone used physical tanks. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why everyone used Dark Veritas to break and do dark resistance, because
I
there
did
was
not
no
actually.
one to eat that magic damage.
I'm still so proud of my classical Marlboro trial. I used fucking Gladio as my tank. Like, so good. Good times. Good times. No Dark Veritas either.
Like, I think that the go-to team, like the meta team for that, was A2, 2 of them with pod, chaining the pod chain, right?
I think it was actually
pod
2B
153
using one of her skills, but yeah. Or 2B
and then
with
you
her
had
LB.
And then you had Tillith as your healer because she could do 100% heals. You had Wilhelm as your tank, and then you had Dark Veritas as your support unit. And then who was Breaker? I think it was Riku that you wanted to use maybe as like a backup. Who was that sixth member? Maybe it wasn't Riku.
Dream, you want to say something?
Might have been Riku for the AoE re-raise. But just going back to the whole learning curve thing, what might actually help with that, from the sounds of it, will be if we get the story digest for Season 1 and 2, because apparently that actually, like, teaches chaining and stuff, and because it's fixed parties, sort of it's, like, at a set difficulty,
Really?
and I think at least the Season 2 one is actually, like, somewhat challenging and complicated, so that's actually, like, a good updated tutorial. So hopefully we get that kind of soon, and it's definitely not because I want there to be a permanent 20% draw attacks clothes for ratings.
Oh, this reminds me of a question I wanted to ask you guys. I think all of us have played. I think I'm the only person actually that hasn't played since the very beginning of this game. You three have all played since launch, right? But what was your first fight that just like took you by surprise, that was too hard for you? Because I remember Veritas of the Heavens was one that people in the story that people kind of got caught off guard. But I remember there was one. I think it was you land on the coast, I believe, of Oldarion, that island, and that you face like a black shark as the boss on that first map, and that shark wrecked me so hard. It was when I really realized I did not have a breaker, and I finally picked up
in the actual
Agrius.
story.
I picked up Agrius, and she had a full break at the time. That allowed me to complete that story, so I move on.
Yeah, I was actually lucky with story content thanks to pulling a lightning, like literally on release. So incredibly lucky. And I didn't even pull for her. It was just a random rainbow. And she kind of took me through the story. But I remember I really struggled with the very first White Dragon, because the White Dragon was the original Masamune drop, right?
Yeah, it was the first trial.
Yeah, it was the first trial. I remember going into it and I didn't have... Like, I think I used... I didn't have a tank, but I used that Clive guy? Is it Clive? Like the dude that also has like Cura or something in his kit? As my tank?
Not sure.
Oh, let me see. Klein?
Klein, yeah, because his TMR is, I think, cover. I think.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
5% chance.
That was my tank in quotation marks. I'm doing air quotes, but you guys can't see it. And I was actually, that fight was tough.
Actually, that reminds me. There's only one fight I've never beaten in this game, and that is the Titan raid, because I got tumulted a billion times and could not overcome that. Yeah, the True Titan one. That one sucked.
For me, it was the Crystal Tower event.
Which one was that?
It was shortly after Lightning came out. It was the one where you had to fight like 5 fucking bosses in a row.
You fought... the Final Fantasy event, you mean?
Yeah. Or no, wait. Sorry, I'm looking at the wiki. It wasn't that one. It was... What was it? There was one where you fought like the 4 fiends.
Yeah, that's the one I thought you meant.
Yeah, that one was really, really hard.
Yeah, it was. It was actually.
This was an era when you didn't have I just found the name. It's the Giant of Babel. You didn't have MP batteries probably, and these bosses were all resistant to different elements. And honestly, Imperils barely existed. Chainers didn't really exist. Tanks didn't really exist. So basically, your only hope was to beat the crap out of the enemies before you ran out of MP.
Yeah. I remember that's the time when I discovered how powerful it was that 5-star bases had innate MP regen. That is literally the fight I learned that.
Like, the number one strat for that event was find a friend with a very geared lightning, because otherwise you're probably not going to be able to beat it. And by probably not, I mean almost definitely not.
Like the barrage meta, that's a big thing. Speaking of the MP batteries, the other one that hit me hard was Sheraton, the first Chamber of the Arms boss, because she had an MP drain, and if you didn't have an MP battery like Ayaka or Ace, I'm not even sure if Ayaka existed at the time.
No, she didn't.
Oh, I remember, because when I pulled Ayaka, I went and beat that fight immediately because I couldn't have beaten it before.
There is a part of me that wonders, like, if I went back knowing what I know now, I wonder how much easier I would find these events, because I feel like even though a lot of the roles that we take for granted nowadays didn't exist back then, I would still be able to approximate a better team comp. And I
Yeah.
wonder, like, if I had known that Rosa would be
Yeah,
really
definitely.
good because she could restore a lot of MP.
I mean,
Right.
it like I think that's good. I mean, I think it's a good sign if you're looking back at a game and saying like, I would have been much better at this game if I had started playing now, knowing what I know now. It means that like the game has evolved. You've learned a ton of stuff. It's good.
I kind of miss those days a little bit. Like it's games have to progress. It has to be better, bigger, badder. You have to go from hitting someone in the face to splitting a galaxy in half. That's kind of where we are now.
With your pizza slicer sword.
Right. It is
Just
really
6
funny,
pieces.
but those are good times for me. Like the start of a game is a really good time. So it's something that you guys should really go back if you want to do what I said, is go back to the wiki on those fights and try it with those units or with old units, or like I went through the Chamber of Arms and took only Final Fantasy Tactics units just because I thought it'd be kind of fun to do. Those are things that bring joy to me in the game, is doing that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
all right, I put everyone to sleep.
No, I'm just doing something that I shouldn't be saying I'm doing on the podcast. Never mind.
Gosh.
And with that, let's end.
I mean, it could be anything. Like, it doesn't have to be the worst thing imaginable. It could be masturbating.
That's the thing I was thinking would be the worst thing imaginable that you're doing on the podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then okay, I'm masturbating.
Can we cut this like 5 minutes before this
All
happens?
right. Good night.
No.
Yes, just cut this episode at like the 30-minute
You know
mark.
what? When Hazard starts singing the Chocobo Polka, that's when the episode ends. There we go.
And we're out. See you guys later.